Let's start another question based on subnetting. Suppose we have a network of the form 172.29.0.0 and it's given to us that subnet bits are 22. So if we compare, let me insert a table for this. So if I have a table like this and I define it like this: 128, 64, 32, then you're 16, then you have 8, then you have 4, 2, and 1. Then if we see, we have subnet bits as 22. And if you remember that I told you we have classes of your subnetting and the IP address. So depending on that, we know that which class it belongs to. So here we can see directly that this is 172, which is less than the class C, which was starting from the 192. So it is class B. Class B kind of IP address. And therefore, our subnetting will be of this form: 250 dot means you are going to do something in this area. Now it is saying that you have number of subnetting bits at 22. So it's 8 here, 8 here, 16, and there are 6 subnet bits here. That means you have a 1 here, 1 here, a 1 here, a 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Then you have a 0 here and 0 here. So if you add the numbers with the 1, they turn out to be your 252. So that will be the subnet of the network which we are going to use. Now, suppose you have to, using the available subnets, you have to create 7 subnets of this form. That the first one require your 265 minimum hosts. Second one require 180 minimum. Hosts. And third one require your 60 minimum hosts. Fourth one require 22 minimum hosts. And fifth one require point to point, or you can say that it requires 2 minimum hosts. Means the networks must be able to have at least 2 hosts. Sixth one also 2 minimum hosts. And the seventh one also 2 minimum hosts. So what kind of subnetting will be used for this? Now if I insert another table and let me add a column on this and add a column to the left. Okay, and I remove this, and then I add a column for each of these. Then I will be able to explain it more clearly. So let's say this is for your the given one, subnetting, and this is your for first one. So in a similar way, if I insert 7 like this, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 6, then 7. So you have 7 columns, 7 rows, and there's a column for each of the bits for all of them. Now if you see, what we are doing here is we are doing it in a way that we need 265 minimum hosts. So if I compare, it with the standard one, 0, then we have basically, so now if we have a subnet like 24, so you know that we have number of bits here equals to 8 bits. So it's 2 raised to the power number of bits, that tells how many hosts it can accommodate. So the number of bits which are remained after doing subnetting. So in this case, the subnetting is done for, can say 24 bits. So 8 bits are left. So 2 raised to the power 8 hosts can be accommodated by this network if the subnet bit is 225 in the last octet. And you must reduce 2 from it, because one address for your network plus one address for this, 2 is basically one address for network and one for broadcast address. So that's why we have basically, if I see, is 2 raised to the power 8 is 256 minus 2. So that is the number of hosts that network can accommodate if we are using 24 bits. How many bits we have here are, it's 22 basically. So for 22 bits, if you see, it's something like that. If I write it in the form of your binary number again, then it will be something like this, that we have 111 dot and 22 means last 2 bits are 00, and then you have all these zeros, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So here number of bits which are not used in the network are 10. The number of users which it can accommodate are depends on this thing. So now how many number of users you can accommodate? It will be again the same thing, same rule apply here, that 2 raised to the power 10 minus 2 number of users it can accommodate, or you can say it will be equals to 1024 minus 2. So it will be 1022 users this network can accommodate if we are using the number the subnetting bits as this. But instead of using it, if I change it to, like for 1, I change it 1 1 1 1. So I'm talking about the third octet only. I'm working on this part only. So if I change it 1, 1, 1 here, 1, and I make it 0. So how many bits I'm using? Here I'm using 22. Here I'm using 23. The number of users which I can accommodate here are, because I'm not using 9 bits now, 8 of the last octet, these ones, and 1 of this one. So the number of users then I can accommodate are basically 2 raised to the power 9 minus 2 equals to 512 minus 2, it is equals to 510. So the number of users it can accommodate using the subnet bits 23 are 510. So if I go for 8 bits, as we know earlier, the number of users which we can accommodate are basically your equals to 2 raised to the power 8 is 256, so it's 254. So now if I try to use the subnet for this question 1 using 8 bits, means subnetting is 255.255.255, then it will not be able to provide me an IP address for 265 minimum host. So I need to move to this one where I can accommodate 500 users. So basically then subnetting which we used for the first question will be 23. That's why I already put it in the first one. Now if we move down further, how many users we require here, which users or host which this network subnet must be able to accommodate, and that is your 180. Now if you see, 180 users can be accommodated by 254. The number of bits which I will be using for this, it will be 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and then it will be 1 here again. So the number of this we will be using is 24. Now for the third one and this one, we are now working on this table represent the last octet. Now this is not representing the third octet for them, it's representing the last octet for them. In a similar way, the reason why it will represent, because we already used 24 bits here. You can say we already used the 255.255.255. Now for this one we require 60 minimum hosts. Now if you see 60 minimum host, where we can accommodate 60 minimum host, if my, sorry, let me make it in a way that it's not, now the number of users which can be accommodated using the subnetting here, we need to accommodate our next one is 60. So if you remember my previous videos, in that you started counting from the right. So when you started counting from the right, what you need to do is 1, 2, 4. So you need to go here, or you can just look at the number 64. The sum of all the numbers below it will always be one value less than that. You can see this. The 64, what's the sum of this? 62. 32 plus 16 is 48. 56. 60 and 63. So the sum of all these numbers are equals to 63. If you go the numbers below 32, it will be 16, 8, 24, 28 and 31. So it applies everywhere. So in order to accommodate the numbers, the users, 60 users, you need to have all these, you need to use these for hosts, and these 2 bits you need to use for subnetting. So that means for the third one, you need to use these 2 bits for hosts, sorry, for the subnetting, and these for the hosts. So the host bits are 0 in the subnetting part. And how many bits you are now using for subnetting? Because we already used 255.255.255 for this one. So basically we already used 24 bits. The number of bits here are 26, because we are basically borrowing 2 bits from this octet. So the number of bits are means 8 from here, 8 from here, 8 from this octet, and now already 2 from this octet also. So this part now I'm showing is this last octet for third one. The number of bits in subnetting which you will be using are 26 bit for this one. Now the fourth, fifth, as you can see the numbers are going down. So they will also be representing the last octet. So I can just mention last octet for them. Now, how many users I need to accommodate in the fourth one is 22 minimum hosts. So now start adding the numbers from the right hand side. So the sum of these numbers are equals to 15. So you need to use this one. So this, the sum of these will be 1 less than 32. So it will be 31. So you need to accommodate, that means this, and this for subnetting, because you need to add these numbers. So these bits will be used for hosts. So make them 0, 0, because you are using them for the host. So how many bits we are now using for your subnetting? 27, 24 already in the remaining octet and 3 from this octet. So basically you are borrowing 3 bits from this octet. Now for the last fifth one, you require minimum 2 hosts. So 2 you cannot accommodate here. Why you cannot accommodate 2 hosts in this here? Because you can say that I have 2 and I can add 1 and 2, then it will be 3, then 3 can accommodate 2, but not. We need to have one network address and one broadcast address for every network we have. So in order to do that, you need to use this. So you will use, the sum is 4, 2, 1. So how many bits you need to do? 1, 1, 1, 1, and you need to do this one also. So for this one, how many bits we are using? We are using 0 divided by 30. Those 2 are used for your hosts. A similar way for these last 2 networks, the answer is same. I'll keep on sharing more videos related to this. Please subscribe, like, and comment on the channel. If you have any queries, you can also put it in the comment box. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.